Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Welcome. You found us here at the TALRadio platform. Again, we hope that you are enjoying all the different content platforms here on TALRadio, anywhere from anything related to personal, professional, and business, and other interest groups you can find here on the TALRadio platform. And again, we are very happy that you are now following us here at Business Influencers, since we've been here since now almost just after COVID started in 2020. Hard to believe we've been around for over 4 years on this platform. And again, we are excited. If this is your first time, you can follow us here, as well as Spotify, Apple, and of course, our video portion of the show on YouTube as well. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask us anytime about seeing content on a future show that we have not covered, feel free to reach out to our team here at Chris@ChristopherSalem.com. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to come in and generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. And as a member, it offers a wide array of different services, both on a professional and personal level. And again, if you'd like more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about idea climbing, how to create a support system for your next big idea. And we are going to be here with Mark J.Carter. Mark is somebody I know personally and spent some time with. Great guy. And Mark began facilitating mastermind experiences for entrepreneurs when he moved to Chicago in 2022 and never looked back. His unique brand of focusing on meaningful dialogue and action-oriented outcomes stands out from the most mastermind groups that don't ask or set clear expectations and don't provide a proven structure. Mark has always been curious about successful people and how they got to where they are in life. And he has been interviewing and researching successful people now for 25 years. And in the last few years, he published over 200 podcasts and had numerous radio show interviews. In addition, today's title of the show is from his book, the same title that came out in 2022. And without further ado, we welcome Mark J.Carter to the show. Mark, how you doing today?
So far, so excellent, Chris. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We are so excited to have you here. So let's dive in, idea climbing. A lot of people have ideas, and there's a lot of ideas that people have it. Sometimes we never hear of, or they just never get to that level where any action is taken or where anybody gets enough interest to take it to that next step. Let's, talk about, some of the things that you've learned about ideas and taking them from just what it was, an idea, to now where it's become now a reality and it's changing lives, and how you've worked with so many successful people in your mastermind groups to, see this process.
Well, the first part that I learned from researching and interviewing people is sharing your idea. So some people will get an idea and they think, I don't want someone to steal it, or I don't want to tell everyone about it. You got to start sharing it. You got to. I'm big on, obviously, mastermind groups, mentors, another huge thing. Find someone who's walked the path that you want to walk and they've done it successfully. Even if it's 20 minutes on Zoom or the phone, whatever it might be. Find people who've done it before and learn from them. That's one of the biggest things I found is so many successful people had mentors, multiple mentors. Even if they seem like a lone wolf or the figurehead of the company, they did not go it alone. They had people shining light on the path that they wanted to walk. They didn't try and figure it out all on their own.
Yeah, so true. So true. I can't agree with you more. You're always the product of the 5 people you associate with or network with and so on. And that can be also in terms of ideas being shared amongst each other. So true. So, Mark, share with us, this concept, how networking and how, again, masterminds and, how they can all come together to really do remarkable things. But as long as we have a strategy, a structure to it, and not that we're shooting from the hip.
Mentoring and mastermind groups are two things I'm very passionate about, and they both follow a similar track. As far as mastermind groups, so many people, especially now with Zoom, they leave it open and they call it a mastermind group in air quotes of give your elevator pitch and talk about yourself, and then go around the room and spend 10 minutes talking about yourself. There's no structure, there's no method, there's to the madness, there's no rhyme or reason. Mastermind groups, what it should be is defining a problem. Why are we getting together? What are we doing here? What do we want to get out of this? Where's where you are, where you want to be is an idea gap. What are your idea gaps? Let's build a bridge over those idea gaps. And it's done, I found, through advice, support, and connections are the three things that mentors should share with you. And that's the three things that should be shared in mastermind groups. And the key being experiential advice. Not I read in a book, not another opinion. Here's something that I lived. Or here's something my friend lived when they solved a problem similar to yours. And then support is a validation of ideas. Maybe you're on the right track. Maybe you could change, but you get some support along the way. And then connections get left out so often. People think it's all about just the advice and support. It's connections. Who do you know that can further help the other person or the other people in that mastermind group to help them bridge those idea gaps? So again, that structure, advice, support, and connection can change everything instead of just elevator pitch and talk about yourself for 5 minutes.
Yes, I agree. And no one wants to spend their quality time, let alone if they spent money just hearing about, somebody and pitching something. They want to be there because, hey, I'm here because I have a challenge that could be better. I'm looking for a result that I seek and don't have now. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I paid for. And I agree. That's really got to be the focus. And then anything indirect that you do, people will pick up on that, but not until you've connected with them to their pain that could be better and to the results they seek and don't have. So true. So true with that.
Exactly.
And I always advocate that in sales, or even when speakers are speaking from the stage where they can't pitch or sell, but this is a neurologistic way to plant a seed. So I support what your statement of 1,000%.
Nice.
Share with us some other insights that you've gathered over, the years you've been doing this, and how, really how this can really help elevate these ideas and really, start getting people behind them, buying into buying into it, because that's number one. That's so important is people buying into something. That's always the first, I guess, hurdle.
Well, to get people to buy into it, you want to make them feel like they're part of your journey. They're not just a superficial outlier. Ideally, you get people to get close to you, mentors and other people that are that they feel like they're part of your journey. And the way to get that is by being vulnerable. So many people were taught, whether it's, undergraduate, business school, fake it till you make it, pad the resume, entrepreneurs, make it sound like you're amazing and you're the next best thing, you're the next unicorn. Fake it till you make it is baked into so much of our society. The hook is if you fake it and you're having problems, no one can help you. Because if you present yourself as everything's hunky-dory and great, your potential mentors, clients, if you have a business, or customers for your product, wherever it might be, if everything is presented as perfect, no one can help you because they don't know you need help.
Exactly.
And that vulnerability, I think, is absolutely key. If you're not vulnerable, you're never going to get any help.
I love the fact that you said that. Yeah, it's you have to be authentic and vulnerable, and not vulnerable in a way that people will take advantage of you, but vulnerable to say, hey, I don't know enough about this, or I don't understand this, and I could use your help if this is an area that you could help me with. And, but knowing that, again, not just setting yourself up to be taken advantage of, that's a different story, but so true, because if people think everything is going well with you and that's how you project yourself, well, guess what? That's what people are not going to be able to help you. And now you're going to kind of navigate this alone. And that's a long road, very long road to do. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. So any other strategies that you'd like to share with us that you've seen that have really helped, ideas to climb and really get to that next level, create influence?
alongside vulnerability is definitely a genuine curiosity about other people, about the big idea you have and how you can bring it to life. But just being genuinely curious when you meet other people for something as simple, I'll go broad strokes with networking. Think about how many people you can just tell when you meet them, even on a Zoom meeting, but especially in person. You can pick up the energy. They're not even, when you're talking about yourself, they're not even really listening. They're just waiting to jump in and talk about themselves. And they don't really care. They let you give your elevator pitch if it's a networking event or a breakout room on Zoom, something like that. But actually, think about the last amazing conversation you had. I'm willing to bet you did most of the talking in that conversation. Someone was curious about you. They were genuinely asking about you. They wanted to learn about not just what you do, but why do you do it? How did you get there? That curiosity goes such a long way. And that means that you're listening 80% of the time, talking 20% of the time. But just really, I mean, that's the best way I can put it is think about it. Oh, how many people can walk away going, oh, that was such an amazing conversation. Yeah, because you did most of the talking.
Yeah.
And that's what I think successful networkers do is they bring curiosity to the table.
Absolutely. And what should people look for if they're, thinking about, sharing an idea or cultivating an idea in a certain group? What should they look for in a networking group? I mean, not all networking groups are the same. We could probably agree upon that.
Well, you have to know why you're going into the networking group. Going into a networking group to find a mentor is different than going to get clients, is different than going to look for referral partners, not selling to the room, but selling through the room. You have to know why you're going in. It can't just be, I'm going into this group for air quotes networking. And
Yeah.
it's not judging. It's not good or bad. If you want clients, just be honest with yourself. I'm going in this to get clients. If you
Yeah.
want referral partners, I'm going in to get referral partners. When I was repositioning some of the things I did, weeding out some services a few years ago, focusing on just a few, I went to some networking events just to get real feedback on, I got to explain what I do in a new way. If I get a client, that's gravy. That's great. But for a while there, I would go with the intention of this is real world testing. I can watch the screen. Are people leaning in? If we're in a breakout room, are they asking follow up questions? Or am I saying something that falls completely short, confuses them at its worst, or maybe they just don't understand? So for a while, my purpose of and I went to Zoom, convenient. I didn't drive an hour each way. I got on Zoom, dressed appropriately from the waist up. I was all good to go. But there were times I was going to an event to test out, the elevator pitch, if you will, just to see what lands with people. Then I graduated to different groups. Okay, now I'm going in personally. I'm looking for referral partners. Again, if I get a client, great. But I'd rather find one person that I could send 3 clients to. They could send 3 clients to me instead of me hunting down 3 clients individually. So referral partners became my focus as I whittled down the groups. But I think that's the first part of a networking group. And it is being honest with yourself and being introspective. Why are you going to the event? You have to get specific. You can't just go for networking or else you'll be the most popular guy in the room and probably the most broke guy in the room.
Well, that's true. I agree 100%. And you got to go in with a plan. You got to have a strategy. It's like when I go to a conference to speak, I have a strategy going in. I have an idea who's going to be in that room I'm speaking to. What is their demand of what they're looking for, what's important to them, so I know how to alter what I'm going to share. So I agree. So talk about what are some better ways they can be prepared to utilize to determine which networking groups or entities would best serve them, and that way they're able to maximize their joint partnerships with people and vice versa for them as well.
The biggest ones are going in for clients or going in for referral partners. If you're going in for clients, there's probably a different, if not completely different audience than referral partners. And that's how you can pick. I know I work with the short form sizzle reel videos I do. Coaches, consultants, and speakers are the end user. But going into places where there's digital marketers, speaking coaches, I'm not selling to them and they're not selling to me. But we both have a similar target market. So I think knowing who you want to meet and why you want to meet them, like I had mentioned, that helps you narrow down the groups. If you want to if you're going in to sell and you sell to speakers, go to a group that's made for speakers. If you want to, the referral partners, like I said, maybe it's digital marketers, speaking coaches, something like that. But that's the biggest thing is knowing why you're going into it, who specifically you want to meet, why you want to meet with them, and then going in with those expectations and actually, and like in my case, saying, here's who I serve, but this is what I'm looking for, to get the focus on the after I say, but I'm really looking for digital marketers and professional speaking coaches. Is completely different than I want coaches, consultants, and speakers in the B2B world, because those are my end users. Two completely different target markets, which means two completely, more than likely, completely different groups.
100%. I agree. Like I said, if you're a speaker, and now you're in a group that caters to, maybe a local businesses. Okay, yeah, if you want to speak at local businesses, that's fine. But if you're looking to speak at, national events or on a national level or global level, that ain't going to probably work for you. Yeah. So totally understand. So what could be some other things that you could share with us that you feel from your experience that could add value here?
I think whatever age you are, if you're doing anything new or you want to get to the next level, whatever it might be, get mentors. Some people think that a mentor is for, and again, I'll use it, the undergrad business school student and the wide-eyed kid new to the business world that wants the sage on the hill to give sage advice and solve problems, and it's great. And as they get older, they think, well, I don't need that anymore. Like I said, whether it's refocusing your business, leaving corporate America and starting a business at 40 or 50, or saying, I need to take my business to the next level. I'm not doing bad, but I think I could be doing better. I think people should be open to mentorship at any age to constantly improve their lives. And some of the most successful people I've researched and spoken with, whether they call the mentors, guides, if you're paying for it, it's coaching. I think of mentoring as not a paid service. Coaching is a paid service. A mentor is someone who takes you under their wing, shares their life experiences, and says, here's what I did when I was in a similar situation to you. Take my advice. True.
And mentoring, like you said, mentoring is guiding, and sometimes it can go with sponsorship and being like an advocate for them, somebody as well. But mentorship is guiding, and that's what I agree. And if you're going to guide someone, you got to guide them through your experience, and it's got to be something that, again, that person connects with you on an emotional level on some whatever that is to make that happen. So true. And I like the fact that you talk about reverse mentoring. It's not just because you're older and you can help somebody else. You could be helped by someone who's half your age, or somebody else where that's an area of specialty for them and that's not an area of specialty. That's a good thing, being open and vulnerable in that case, and not thinking like you know everything and you could do everything, in your business or career.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it can happen at any age. And like you said, if you're 45 and starting a business, you know what? That 25-year-old millionaire can probably give you some kick-ass advice, even though they're only 25. So I like that you did say that it is not necessarily a prerequisite that the mentor is older than the mentee. It's all about their life experience, which can be across the board with all types of ages, industries, corporate America, entrepreneurship. It's not necessarily the older person teaching the younger person.
So true. So true. Love it. Love it like that. Love how it is. And, one of the things that I've learned, and I'd love to get your input on it, is through networking and even through masterminds, you develop these long, like this rapport and trust and eventually respect from certain people that they can be now strategic alliance partners that can refer business. And, they may be compensated for it. They may not, depend upon your arrangement. But I find that always works very, very well. And, no matter what phase of your business is. I'd love to get your insights on that.
Well, it's what I mentioned earlier. And I learned from a podcast interview with Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI. And he put it so eloquently. He was giving a keynote speech to 900 people or so in the ballroom. And it was a weekend conference and he was kicking it off. He's like, okay, he got right to it. He's like, how many people in here would love to sell something this weekend? And all the hands went up. It was awesome. Okay, hands down. How many people in here came with the expectations and hopes of buying something this weekend? Crickets. And he
Yes.
called that selling to the room versus selling through the room. And if you're looking for referral partners, you're selling through the room. And if you think about it, if we just met, especially if it's like a speaker, a coach, a consultant, I can't just refer you. It's not like a web designer is a little easier. You can look at what they've done in the past and you can
Yes.
pretty much judge their work. You want to hire them or you don't. Speaking, coaching, consulting, anything that's ambiguous, I just met you. I might know your ideal clients. We just met. I can't open my
Yes.
Rolodex.
There's not enough rapport and trust built at that point. And, yeah, even if I think, even if that person's a nice person, you still don't know them, to trust that they're going to do what they say there. There's got to be some evidence, and you got to build that. That trust has got to be established, and, to earn that. Yeah.
And asking for introductions, asking for referral partners, like what I mentioned, I'll use the same one, digital marketing companies. We can get to know each other, but that's an easier first time introduction is, oh, I know a friend that has a digital marketing company. Maybe you should meet them because I'm not selling to them. I don't need to be a great coach, speaker, consultant. That's up for the digital marketing company to figure out on their own and me to figure out about them. But that's an easy one to say, hey, you know what, Chris, I think you should meet Matt. Here's what you two do. You both serve the same markets. I think you should get to know each other. That's a much easier introduction than, hey, Chris, I think you should meet Matt because Matt's a coach and I think you should hire him. It's like, pump the brakes. We just met. No, no.
So true. So true. I love it. I love it. And, if you'd like, as we get, towards the final 5 minutes, 6 minutes of this show, I'd like to, if you want to share an actual story about what you're talking about, Mark, you can. You don't have to mention anybody's name, of course. It can be, you use a fictional name, but just love to, I think the audience could get so much value out of that.
Was there any specific area you're thinking
It
of?
doesn't matter. It could be business. It can be anything you like. Because again, we're focusing on the point of idea climbing, and again, the value of networking and masterminds and helping facilitate that.
I would say with networking, and I'll use mentoring. When I moved to Chicago, with unconscious competence, I was naturally vulnerable. If I needed help, I asked for it.
Yeah.
And I met this guy who ran an entrepreneurs group. His name was Jerry. We developed rapport because I was just getting started. I was new to networking. I did cold calls in Michigan where I went to college. I'd never been in a formal networking event before coming to Chicago. Started going to them and realized, holy crap, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And he took me under his wing because I was vulnerable and I was curious about it. And he became like a father to me because I was vulnerable, asked for help, and he would guide me along. And I got better at networking, not necessarily amazing that quickly, but better, faster.
Well, that's all it's about, progress. That's it. No, I think that's wonderful. And that's what mentors are for. They're not there to enable you. They're not there to please you. They're there to just guide you and encourage you to pick yourself up when if you fall down. And that's the thing. And that's what good mentorships. I've been blessed to know that I've had that in my career, and those are the things that I learned and applied to other people, where now I'm the mentor. But I still have to be mentored. There's no doubt about it. It's always you're always the teacher and the student simultaneously.
Absolutely. And so mentoring is near and dear to my heart. Yes, definitely.
Right. I love that. Anything else that we have not covered that you feel could be something that the audience should know or hear, in this case, relate to?
I would say nothing new, but if I had to reiterate one thing, it would be vulnerability. And it's not saying, oh my God, my business is in shambles. It's not being, putting out, whining about everything but at least being vulnerable enough to ask for help. Of everything we spoke about, that's worth reiterating the most, because I think it's not necessarily only for that startup that's trying to get $1 million in funding. It's for that entrepreneur in everyday life, the person climbing the corporate ladder, whatever it might be. People are just taught not to be vulnerable, and everything's okay, everything's hunky-dory. And as soon as you open the door to vulnerability, you open the door to getting just immense amount of help, whether it's a one-time conversation, an ongoing mentoring experience, whatever it might be. But yeah, I would definitely say that's the most important part, is if everything's not perfect, don't present it as perfect, because you'll never get any help.
That's true. So true. 100%. I can't agree more. So, let's just talk, as we end the show, I wanted to first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here, to share your knowledge and insights. Somebody who's really dedicated, himself to this area and learned how to, craft himself to be a great relationship builder. And in this case, helping people get their ideas to that next level. How can, people get in contact with you? What are you up to? And anything that you'd like to share or provide the audience here?
All my interviews, everything is on markjcarter.com. And you can also go directly to my YouTube station at youtube.com/@Mark J. Carter. But again, the links to all my social, my radio shows, my videos, everything is on markjcarter.com.
All right.
And if on your favorite, I do have to say, on your favorite podcasting platforms, look up Idea Climbing for my podcast. It's on all of them. Again, Idea Climbing on your favorite podcast platform.
Excellent. And we'll make sure that, again, all of that information is in the show notes here at Business Influencers. And for any reason, if you reach out, we'll make sure to connect you to Mark, because I know Mark personally, and Mark knows I always refer quality people. So, and that's what our show is all about, making these connections. Mark, again, thank you so much for taking time to be with us here on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you, Chris.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Mark in each and every week to help elevate you and your business in terms of influence to the next level. Again, if you'd like to see content we have not covered on a future show, again, reach out to us. Let our team member know, and we will look to see what we can do to cover that and match that with the right subject matter expert that is well-versed to cover that area. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week at the same time. Take care.